Krown Produce secures produce locally and from around the world for Canadian retailers. Krown Produce is also proud to secure sponsorship of university football on Shaw. Krown Produce, supporting Canadian retailers and Canadian amateur football. Purple beats gold. Red and gold beat purple, and the dogs are green. Krown Countdown U counts down now.
Hey everybody, welcome to Krown Countdown U. I'm Ryan Sullivan. This, of course, is Andrew Wadden, David Copperfield, Dippity-Doo, Yoplate.
Dippity-Doo? What list are you making here?
I'm naming amazing things.
Well, you know what was amazing? What happened in Ontario this weekend between two absolutely amazing football teams.
Well said, and not scripted. Western hosting Queens, two of the absolute best in the nation going toe-to-toe. Will Finch, Billy McPhee. I'm not going to bore you with this on-camera stuff. Let's get right to those highlights. We head to TD Stadium in London, Ontario. A capacity crowd on hand for Western and Queens. The two undefeated ball clubs have looked nothing short of solid all year long. Let's get this puppy going. Let's also not talk about the lack of pant legs on those purple guys. Western striking first. Will Finch hits Adam Sinclair. Mr. Sinclair. It's an easy 7-bagel scoreboard just like that. Jesse Andrews with a nice rush inside the red zone for Queens here. When he loses the handle, he would regain possession on the mat, but would he get redemption? Well, not quite. Very next play, Andrews can't handle the biscuit once again. It hits the ground, gets covered up in purple Play-Doh. The bad news wouldn't end there for Queens. Justin Chapdelaine would end up leaving the game after this, away from the ball shot from Paul Kruba. He'd be shaken, he'd be stirred, and he would not return. Finch now handing off the ball to Mr. Sinclair. Again, he would make a nice cut. He is gone. Touchdown, Adam Sinclair. Make it 14-0 for the hometown Purple Ponies. Things would get worse before they get better for Queens too. Billy McPhee unloads a should-be catch, but it goes right into the hands of Preston Huggins. Another fantastic name. The Western defender heads for the Purple Promised Land. He takes it all the way back to the house. Western up 21-0. Queens ground game started to impress though. A great run here from Daniel Heslop, breaking through defenders. The former Savannah State Tiger then caps it off. A nice TD. It is 21-7. That's his first major in the CIS, by the way. After a few Western scores, the Purple trying to punt that football when...
Go! Go! Hairulahu has it blocked. The scoop. And a foot race to the end zone. Touchdown, Gilles!
Queens scores the major. It's 32-17. They'd pick away a little more, but this thing would end up with Western on top. 50-31, the final score for the Purple People. Western stays undefeated and atop the OUA while Queens picks up their first loss of the season. It doesn't get any easier for Western though, as they get set to take on Austin Kennedy and the streaking Windsor Lancers this weekend.
There was a burning in the loo. Kick things off right at the end of the first cue. Austin Kennedy gets flushed out of the pocket, goes to the far side where Mitch Dender hauls it in. Lancers take a 5-point lead, but the Hawks would strike back. James Fracas fakes the handoff, rolls out, and finds the Godfather, Tony Pizzuti with the major. Shift to the fourth. Windsor down 4. G-Hawks botch the snap on the punt. Lancers with some great field position, and they make it work. Kennedy to Clark Grace. Windsor takes its first lead since the second cue, but the G-Hawks wouldn't go away. Fracas feels the pressure, escapes a tackle, and finds a wide open Dylan Campbell. That's a 53-yarder. Windsor lead now down to just 3. So with 0 ticks left on the clock, Ronnie Feather nails this 20-yarder, and we're off to the OT zone. In the extra session, Lancers go for a three-banger, but it's wide right. They do, however, manage a Rouge to go up by 1. So, Lancers turn to win with the boot blocked. Windsor crawls back to beat Laurier on the road. Austin Kennedy tosses for close to 200 yards in 2 majors. Mitch Dender rushed for 155 yards and 1 touchdown in the win. While for the G-Hawks, Fracas tossed for just over 300 yards in the 2 tallies. The OUA rushing leader Dylan Campbell added to his season stats, racking up 127 yards on the ground, 66 in the air, while scoring 1 touchdown.
The Toronto Varsity Blues hosting the winless but very sharply dressed Carleton Ravens pick things up with Simon Nasser finding Paul DePass 47 yards. They're in striking distance early. It leads to a 2-yard scamper from Aaron Milton. T.O. scratches the scoreboard first, and they weren't done by a long shot. Marcus Hobbs takes the fake punt, and look at this strike. The punter looking like a young Gio Carmazzi. First down, VBs. Alex Perchalski then finds pay dirt with a nice pull down. Toronto taken off. Perchalski again, another touchdown grab down the middle. This one's a 28-yard get. 25 blank T.O. Second half now, Kevin Bradfield takes this punt return 42 yards to help set up another Perchalski pull down. The Blues defense would see the field too. Heads up, Dylan Gordon levels Keith Graham. Jesse Mills would find Nathaniel Bahar in the end zone, though Carleton, there you go, you're on the board. Marcus Hobbs would pound in a 2-yarder to make it 40-10 for Toronto. Nasser would then hit rookie Levi Noel in the end zone. This thing was finished before it even started. Technically, that's not true, but when you look at the score, yes, it is. Toronto wins 50-10. Alex Perchalski and Paul DePass had 103 yards receiving each on the day. Perchalski found the end zone 3 times, though. Toronto moves to 500 and will take on York on October 10th.
The GGs are back to 500 with a win over York.
This one, no contest win for Guelph. 41-19 your final. Western 6-0 atop the table. Guelph 5-0, not too shabby. The weather was not the story at Thunderbird Stadium. The story comes in one of our first clips at halftime. It was cold, it was wet, it was windy, it was gross. That's what I'm trying to say. UBC hosting the Huskies. Let's jump right to halftime. Andrew Wadden with the mic. Look at the popped collar. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's halftime report brought to you by Don Johnson. Scary moment for UBC off a harmless draw play to Brandon Deschamps. He gets his foot stuck under a defender. He would stay down, writhing in pain. He'd need help off the field. He would not return to this game. End of that series. UBC punting, and it's blocked. Seamus O'Neary finds a loose ball, and he tuckers his way to the pay dirt. His name is actually just Seamus Neary, but O'Neary makes things fun. It's 8-5 Saski. UBC marches the leather right back down the field, though, and Bocott finds Patrick Bull 24 yards out. It's 12-10 for the homeboys. The green and white right back at it, though. Burko hits Kid Hillis for a nice handful of yards to end the third quarter. QBDB then finds Charlie Power, and heads up, Power takes the helium approach, but he's out at the 1. Beauty effort, though. Shane Buchanan would finish off the set for the Dogs from Saski. UBC still chugging away. Bocott looks for a man in the end zone who gets the very generous pass interference call. The T-Birds move to the goal line when Liam Mahara loses the biscuit. A tough break for the young kid out of Vancouver College. Saskatchewan would get reckless, though. Burko on the run makes a bad decision. It's UBC football off the pick. They get new life in the red zone, and after failing to convert on first and second down, it comes down to third and goal.
From the 4, here comes the rush. Bocott gets it away. It is off the crossbar, and the ball falls incomplete.
Thank you, Jim Mullin in the booth. UBC loses the game 17-12. The good news for the T-Birds is that Brandon Deschamps was jogging on the sideline late in the fourth quarter. He's listed as probable for the time being going into their dance with Manitoba.
Rams in Bison's country looking to corral the herd. Pick this one up late in the first Q. Jordan Yance drops back and then decides to channel his inner Randall Cunningham. Even stays on his feet to take the lick. That set up this 1-yard plunge from the man with 2 first names, Andrew Barry. 13 Cobb now for the Bisons. Early second cue, Yance on the bootleg, rolls out to his right, and like an orphan on Christmas, Matt Hollick all alone in the end zone. Next series for the Rams. Pivot came and Shutter goes for a run. Look out! Jordan Lennon with the late hit knocks Shutter out cold. Lennon gets the boot. Well, Shutter's day is also over. Backup John Gleesman replacing him. Right before the half, Brady Ollie comes off the edge, knocks the pigskin loose. Mike Stavanovich collects the garbage, and he gone. That's a Sammy Hagar, a 55-yard scoop and score. But the very next play for the Bisons, Yance to the air. Andrew Smith with nothing but real estate in front of him. That's an 89-yard major. Bisons take the Rams by the horns, taking this one by 19. Yance tosses 3 touchdowns on the day to go along with 134 yards. He also rushed for 97 yards. Like Yance, Anthony Coombs also tallied 97 yards on the ground. John Gleesman, who replaced Shutter, connected on 13 of 28 passes for 121 yards, while also getting picked 3 times.
To Footfield we go. The Dinos have won the game with ease when a scrap breaks out. Enter Blake Nill doing his best Jim Playfair with a half torn off jacket. He is hot. He rips the players out of the pile. I said a turkey bacon club. Nill letting the Zebras have it. Adam Lorentz would get the escort. An absolute debacle of a game ends in an absolute brouhaha. Calgary wins by a few points. 76-21 the final score from Edmonton. Dr. Golan Mercer Timmis had himself a day. 214 yards on the ground, 4 touchdowns. I repeat, 4 touchdowns. Add to that his 3 last week. He now has 13 touchdowns on the year, which leads the CIS by quite a bit. In fact, he has 8 more than second place Dylan Campbell with Laurier, who has 5. Mathematics. Calgary and Saskatchewan are 1-2. That is a huge rematch coming up.
All right, let's head to Quebec now, where this weekend the Bishops Gators did something no team has done in the last decade.
Nice crowd came out at Coulter. Glenn Constantine locking horns with Kevin Mackey and the Gators. Laval starting pivot Tristan Grenon relegated to interview duties while banged up with a sore hand. Alex Skinner gets the start, wastes no time getting into the game. First pass, and it's a beaut. On play action, Skinner to Julian Bailey for a gain of 39. A few plays later, the drive gets capped off with this 3-yard score from Antoine Leduc. Laval lights up the scoreboard first. Later in the first, Gators down 10 and deep in Laval territory. Jordan Heather drops back and hits a wide open Stephen Adikolu. The Gators complete the 2-point convert, so down just 2. Next series for Laval. Maxime Boutin breaks off for a rush for 26 yards. Follows it up with this. Last year's Vanier Cup MVP goes 33 yards to Moneyland. Rouge Aor faithful are loving it. Lead back up to 9. A couple minutes before the half, the Gators score a weird one on 3rd and 1. Ron Lee loses the handle. Shane McDonald scoops it up, about to get turfed by 3 defenders. Somehow gets the throw off. Alex Fox snatches it up, and like a fox, he gone. Gators down just 3. But before the half would finish, Rouge Aor deep in the Bishop zone. Skinner to Guillaume Barassa, and you can put it on the board. The reigning champs take a 10-point lead into the poutine break. 5 minutes to go in the third now. Heather to Adikolu. That's 7 more for the home side. Laval lead down to just 2. So they fake the extra point, try for the 2-point convert, and no sir. Rouge Aor remain in the lead. Shift to the end of the third. Heather and company down 5. She fires to the wide side. Pluck! Vincent Plante with the thievery. That pick proved deadly. As next series for Laval, Skinner goes deep right into the palms of Yannick Moore and Plante. That's a 40-yarder, and that, my friends, was the end of the Gators. The 38 points put on the board by the Gators is the most Laval has allowed in a regular season game since 2003.
Montreal hosting Sherbrooke, the Vert Aor, on their biggest win streak of 2013. That's one game. Jeremy Doyon-Rock hooking up early with Carl Gagnon-Bissaillon for a nice chunk of change. It would lead to a whole lot of nothing, though. Sherbrooke deadly on D, though. Gabriel Cousineau gets picked by Jean-Philippe Dupuis, and it leads to this 8-yard scamper from Alexander Aubin. Isaac Laison would add the next Sherbrooke mark. They stun the Montreal crowd and send the Carabin packing 16-12, your final score. The Sherbrooke-Montreal rematch hits the turf at Sherbrooke this weekend.
McGill pull off an incredible come-from-behind win to take the 37th annual Shrine Bowl. Standings time, Laval now comfortably in front with that gleaming, unblemished record.
Oh, let's take off to Wolfville, where Acadia was looking to put themselves back on top of the AUS conference.
So let's head out to Wolfville, where Mount A was hoping to not get mauled. Here you see Evan Brown connecting with Scott Kelly for the major. Kelly caught one and even tossed for another. Acadia are 500 with a thrashing of the Mounties. The Axemen used 3 pivots on the day, including Brown, who saw the majority of the snaps.
St. Mary's, St. FX, and All Saints Battle Royale. Michael Dawes with an easy take here to make it 10-blank Huskies. They go on to win with ease, 25-13 the final for the Maroon with white and black trim. They now host Acadia this weekend, with the winner moving to 3-2 and holding AUS supremacy for at least a week.
Standings time in the AUS, and you'll see it's a logjam at the top.
There you go, some good stuff coming out of the AUS. Especially that. That's probably the best stuff coming out of the AUS right there. How did we get the budget for John Travolta at halftime? How does that work?
Are you referring to my popped collar at halftime
No, I'm not.
of the UBC Saskatchewan game?
I'm not referring to that at all.
Good. I'm glad you're not.
You look like an idiot.
No!
Whether it's your first home, a refinance, or an investment property, Kiah Grant & Associates can find a mortgage solution for you. In association with Verico Paragon, the work she does for you is free. Find her on Facebook at Kiah Grant Mortgages. Now it's time for the 3-minute warning with Gilles Lepine from the University of Laval, brought to you by Kiah Grant & Associates. Gilles, when people ask me about the Rouge Or program, I say it's somewhere between the NCAA and major junior hockey in terms of the way that it's set up. That's just an estimation. Can you explain to people out there how the Rouge Or system is set up with the teams and private interests?
We start to have non-profit organization where these people, their main concern is to help us on a volunteer basis, to help us to build a corporation where we may grab some money, have a fundraising for this, and bring some money for helping the kids to have a competition, a hiring coach, and everything going with. And the university said, I agree to keep the gymnasium, the field, everything that you need, but you have to regroup yourself with the area community. That's what we built.
Can other programs apply this across the country? Is this nonprofit and private interest thing something that can work in your mind with other programs?
For the last 2 years, I think I have 10 athletic directors from different universities in Canada who came to visit us and ask me how is working our system. And many of them are really interested to start something like this.
Tell us about the organization for the Vanier Cup right now. Where are you with tickets and what do you have planned?
Okay, you know that the last 2 Vanier Cup that we have in 2009 and 2010 was a very big successful. Every time we have something like 18 to 19,000 people. We have 12,500 seats, and now they are sold or reserved for teams coming. And we have rooms for the general admission stand-up tickets for, let's say, something around 6,000 tickets that are available. Right now, more close to 2,000 of them are already sold on the general admission. So, few thousand of them are available for the people interested.
You know, I've talked to some people in the Canada West, and they've said that if there's a guy that can organize a national interlock with a national regular season, it's you. What is your feeling on a national interlock for CIS football?
So that's why we're asking ourselves, could we have a hybrid system that we have some games, not all the regular calendar, but some games with the other conference, and with that we reduce the cost because it's very expensive for everybody, and because of the effect on the other teams though or not going on this prime level league or whatever we can call it.
Gilles, thanks very much for this. We appreciate your time.
You're more than welcome, and please, you're my guest for the Vanier Cup. Come at home.
Thanks very much. I appreciate that. I'll take you up on it. And that is our 3-minute warning.
Hey, welcome back to Krown Countdown U. It is time again for the Roundtable portion. We welcome back to the table our good friend Andrew Wadden on the end. He's wearing the gelmet. Very nice.
As always.
Yeah, very jealous of that hair. Jim Mullin, and of course, Billy Greene, former UBC quarterback and Heck Creighton winner, one of the best players the Canada West has ever seen. Just keep pumping those. Keep pumping the tires. All right, start things out. Story of the week. The biggest thing going on in the CIS in the week that was. So we're going to start with Andrew Wadden.
Well, my story of the week has to be Ryan Gramberg, the star running back of the Queens Gales. He is now the all-time rushing leader in Queens history, surpassing the mark over the weekend. He's not taking as many carries this year. He's down from 22 carries per game last season to 10 this year. Queens itself looking quite nice in their backfield, and congratulations to Ryan Gramberg for surpassing that record.
Thank you, Andrew. Let's move over to Jim Mullin.
This is one that is flying under the radar right now, which is potential expansion in CIS football. And there are 3 schools right now that are looking at it to one degree or another. The University of Trois-Rivières is one that's looking at it. They used to have football in the 60s and the 70s. Right now, their challenge is a facility. They've got a fantastic baseball facility in town that seats a little over 4,000 if you configured it for football. The other 2 are out west, and one of them may be a surprise. That's Trinity Western University. Now, TWU has been looking into things mainly because 20% of their student population comes from the United States, and Western Washington University packed in their football program a number of years ago. So in this region, they can attract a number of American students to play Canadian football. And the other one that's been talked about for a long time is UBCO teaming up with the Okanagan Sun. The Okanagan Sun, formed in 1980, has always had an eye on bringing a team into the Canada West. I know that there is a plan to bring them on board for 2016. It would be nice to see another team come in with them so you have an even number of teams in the Canada West and you don't have that bye week thing that the OUA has to put up with right now.
All right, move things over to Billy Greene.
My player spotlight this week is going to be Mercer Timmis, Dr. Goal Line, as he's been going by lately. This weekend, 214 yards, 4 touchdowns. I think Calgary's definitely found their next big-time running back. He's only going to get better. He's got a chance to break the Canada West touchdown record this year, and he's only going to get better in his second year.
Okay, we'll switch things up. We'll go to objectionable conduct. Now, I've got a juicy nugget for this one, but I'll leave it till the end. We'll start things out with Billy Greene.
Mine would have to be offensive coordinators giving the ball to a running back, 2nd and short, 3rd and short. A lot of the quarterbacks playing football these days are big, strong guys. We saw it this week. Jim's game out at UBC, handing the ball off to a running back, unfortunately fumbled, shifted the game. It might have been a lot easier to give it to the quarterback, have him dive in, and it's something that we're seeing in football these days, and I think that offensive coordinators need to change how they're doing it.
Okay, switch things over to Andrew Wadden.
Maybe I'm just a one-trick pony when it comes to coming up on this panel, but I do have a gripe again about the CIS top 10. And to be honest with you, I don't think we need a top 10 in this country. I think we need a top 5 because really there's only 5 good teams in this country right now. I will give 6 with Saskatchewan. I'll say a tie with Queens. But right now, Western, Laval, Calgary, Guelph, Queens, and of course that tie with Saskatchewan. Those are the only teams, in my opinion, that need to be recognized in some sort of top list. The rest at 3-2, 2-2 records. You can't get in like that. Somebody said to me on Twitter today, well, how come Mac isn't in there? They're 2-3. How do you get into a top 10 at being 2-3? I'm sorry, it should be a top 5, and I think we need to break it down from 10 to 5 moving forward. And I know Jim Mullin has something to say about that because he is the one that coordinates it.
I'm just saying the top 10 is just a point of discussion.
Yeah.
Until there's a real national interlock where teams play each other across the country for a couple of weeks, a top 10 is simply a wide varying poll. I think the biggest problem with the top 10 this week, as you will see, spoiler alert, close your ears, Western moves into the first spot, Laval moves down into number 2, so it's hard to take a top 10 seriously, and trust me, I'm the guy that coordinates this, when a team who is ranked number 1 beats another ranked team and actually falls down a slot. Western may be the best team, but until number 1 gets knocked off by someone, they shouldn't fall down a slot. A little disappointed in my voters out there, folks.
There you go, dishing it out. But now let's get to your objectionable conduct. I've been interested to hear this for a while now.
A $140 fine for causing a nuisance handed out by the London Police Department to the Western Ontario cheer team. The London Police Department should be taken to task for crushing school spirit. So London Police Department, you are under objectionable conduct.
Games of the week. Let's start things out with Billy Greene.
Game of the week has to be Calgary-Saskatchewan. It could be a battle for home field in the playoffs. We have Saskatchewan down on the tiebreaker by 12 points. If they happen to win this week against Calgary, they're going to be in a tie. If they get the 13 points that they need, they could lock up first place if they take care of business for the rest of the year.
I'm not sure that the Saskatchewan Huskies can make up those 12 points against Calgary, especially the way their defense has been playing. It's a young defense for the Calgary Dinos. They've been flying about. I think this is a milepost game for the development of Drew Burko at quarterback. I think he had a fairly shaky outing against the UBC Thunderbirds. I think midway through his second season, I think fans in Saskatoon were expecting a little more in terms of development and his ability to read. I don't think we saw that last week. I think a big home game against the Calgary Dinos might signal a good turnaround for Drew Burko at quarterback.
I definitely agree. That's going to be a big time game for him this week, and I think the coaching needs to put him in a little bit better of a situation to succeed. He did a great job last year doing what he's been doing for the last year and a half, but at some point we're going to have to see the quarterback be given some tools in the offensive play calling to be able to succeed. So we'll see this week how they do against Calgary.
There's one thing that we hear all the time about Saskatchewan from other coordinators across the Canada West is we know what Saskatchewan does. If there was ever a time to throw some surprises on the field, especially on the offensive side, it's this game coming up against Calgary.
My game will have to be Montreal and Sherbrooke. This is going to be a huge game for Montreal because they might not make the playoffs if they lose this one. They have got Sherbrooke, of course, and then they've got McGill. Now, Sherbrooke's got Laval and Concordia after that. I'm going to go out on a limb right now and tell you that Laval's going to beat Sherbrooke in that game. However, I know. However, it could come down to the tiebreaker at that point. Therefore, Montreal will get no playoffs this year.
Thank you very much, Andrew Wadden, Jim Mullin, and Billy Greene. I'm Ryan Sullivan. Thanks for joining us on Krown Countdown U. Now, much to Andrew's chagrin, here's the CIS Top 10.
Manitoba, the Weapons get them in at 10. Number 9, Mac at 2 and 3. They're a legacy pick. 8, Bishops held their own versus the champs. Montreal, 2 losses in a row, have them at 7. Number 6, Saskatchewan, hosting their nemesis on Friday. Queens knocked down to 5 after a loss to Western. 12, Perfection gets them in at 4. Number 3, Calgary Dinos. The kids are better than all right. Number 2, the Laval Rouge beating a ranked team not enough for voters. And Western beating number 3 got them to number 1. Thanks for watching Krown Countdown U as Countdown has Countdown.